Sorry, I'm running late. Welcome, welcome. Good morning. Sorry, I'm running late. I'm obviously did not wake up to my alarm. It's one of those days where my alarm went off, I think, and I can't remember it going off because I woke up a few minutes later and I'm like, did my alarm go off or did it not? Good morning, like it's like it. How are you today, Tara? And Rebecca's here. Welcome in. Susan's here. Lucky Buys is here. Welcome everybody. So it seems like more and more people must be putting their phones on private entry because it shows how many people are here and like there's half the amount showing up as announced, which is fine. Fun fabric. You can't complain. Yeah, I can't complain. I mean, I always have a few things I can complain about, but why bother? Nobody wants to hear it, right? Pickle pie so's welcome in. So yeah. I mean, I'm complaining because I don't remember if my alarm went off or not. The other complaint I have this morning, you want to hear it? All right, I'll tell you. I got in the shower and started to shower, and I'm like, and it smelled weird, and the water started tasting weird, and I'm like freaking out because I'm like, am I bleeding somewhere? Because the water was coming on my face and it tasted weird. And all of a sudden I realized it was just like total salt. So something's wrong with my, because I live in Utah and we have really hard water. So everybody has water softeners. And so it tasted like pure salt. I was like, this is gross. So I changed the water to cold and back to warm, and then it cleared up. But now I'm like, crap, something's wrong with my water softener. So that was my morning. That was another reason I was partly late because it took me a minute to be like, am I not going to take a shower today? What's wrong with my water softener? So yeah, that was fun. Fun times. How's everybody else's morning going? So, and yes, I did shower before I walk because I don't really walk fast and it's cold and I don't get sweaty. So, yes, I do walk after I shower. If I don't shower first thing in the morning, I might as well not even get out of bed. That's just kind of how I am. I That's what wakes me up and gets me going. And so I have to shower first. I think if I did really hard workouts in a sweaty gym, I definitely would not shower first. But because like my husband goes to the gym every morning and he uh, gets up and goes and then comes home and showers, but that's not me. And I don't like gyms, partly for that reason. Welcome in, Laura. How are you today? All right. So we're supposed to talk about shipping tomorrow evening. And I feel like I've beat shipping to death by having several shows about shipping. They really haven't changed a whole lot, except they took away reduced shipping from new sellers. So anyone that's new within the last like month or two, I don't know exactly when they took it away, but if you're new, you are not, they don't even have it turned on for you to choose to offer reduced shipping in the settings where it's buyer pays all or um, buyer pays up to max. You don't even have that option apparently. It only has the option of buyer pays all, or yeah, buyer pays all shipping. So I think that's, I mean, I kind of understand why they did it. I think they're just trying to prevent people from coming on the app with the intention of scamming. Plus, since it's a learning curve to learn shipping, they are trying to prevent people from trying to offer reduced shipping and then getting themselves totally in a fix with having to pay too much shipping because they tried to offer reduced shipping. So I kind of get that, but it does make it hard for new sellers to get some traction because a lot of people won't even come into shows that don't offer some kind of reduced shipping. So, other than that, what does anyone need help with shipping? Because I'm like, I feel like I've beat it to death, but that's what they want us to talk about again. I think the only thing I think a lot of people may need to understand and learn how to do is how to use custom shipping profiles to help you when you want to do, if you have some larger items or you want to do a per box show or something like that, then custom shipping profiles are important. Um, but without being able to offer reduced shipping when you're new, there's not a whole lot of settings you can really do. I've never heard of buyers not buying because there is no reduced shipping. Um, yeah, people aren't going to necessarily say anything, but you can filter. You can actually filter for free or reduced shipping, and there's some people that have that turned on. And yeah, I definitely um, find myself tending to not want to buy if they don't have reduced shipping turned on. So, but I think it depends on the category. Because some categories don't really use reduced shipping all that much because they can't. Um, but a lot of big sellers have, that's how they grew. That's how they grew, is they actually just offered reduced shipping from the get-go and took the hit, lost some money by using low starts and reduced shipping because that's a guarantee. If you have reduced shipping turned on, then the buyers are guaranteed that they will not pay any more than whatever that reduced shipping rate is, versus you go into a show that doesn't offer it, and if you want to continue to buy, you're going to have to keep paying more and more shipping if you go over 5 pounds. So it's just a mentality. I was in a big show once, where the seller asked the audience, would you rather have dollar starts or free shipping? And overwhelmingly, everybody said free shipping. Why? Because that's a guarantee. A dollar start means nothing. A dollar start, you may get lucky and get something for a low price, but most likely they're going to get bid up. Whereas free shipping, if they offer it, that's a guaranteed thing. So, yeah, it's just kind of a mentality. And because of things like the Zon, if you have Amazon Prime, um, people have gotten used to, having different sites that offer free shipping depending on what you're doing, even though that costs you. I mean, it's a subscription. People kind of get used to that and kind of have a mentality of, wanting reduced shipping or free shipping. So, and yes, they can filter. So if you go out to the For You page, you can put in filters. And I do know there are people that filter out shows that don't offer reduced shipping. So, anyway, so I need to know, what are some topics to do with shipping that you think would be helpful, other than just the very basics. And I mean, I'll still kind of have the documents that go over the basics, refer people to my previous shows, that I have on YouTube, give them the information, but I kind of feel like, I don't know, I just kind of don't want to do the whole basics thing. So, what are things about shipping that you guys struggle with that you would like or that you think would be helpful to talk about? And the only thing I could really come up with was custom shipping profiles, and it just, and then just talking briefly about the fact that new sellers um, cannot turn on the buyer pays up to max reduced shipping setting because apparently it's not even in their settings. Who in the audience here is new within the last couple of months and you do not have the reduced shipping option? Is anyone here in the audience in that category? Just curious to know, because I had someone the other day that was relatively new that said they got it. So I don't know when they actually turned it off. If it was, really recent or more than a month ago or what. So kind of interesting that they took that away. If you don't already have the show bookmarked for Whatnot Sellers, the Whatnot Seller account, that is going to be, let me just go look and make sure it's still scheduled. So the Whatnot Seller account, it's in the show notes. It's the first starred bullet. So Whatnot Sellers, oh, if I could spell, that'd be helpful. All right, so Whatnot Sellers has a show. Nope, they moved it. So they're not doing one. Okay, so they had one scheduled for the 7th for new updates. I guess they're not ready to reveal any new updates. So it's gone. So that show has been rescheduled for the 4th of February. The next one coming up is the 14th. They're going to be interviewing the Hodgepodge Place Christine. If you haven't ever watched her shows, holy cow, she is amazing, because that woman can talk a million miles an hour and sell a million miles an hour, and she just is amazing. So if you've never watched her, so that's who they'll be interviewing on the 14th. Make sure you have that bookmarked. They just added it recently, so I'm bookmarking it. And that will be a good one to watch, because they just pick people's brains in those interviews, and you get a lot of good tips and tricks from people who just really know how to sell and know how to do whatnot. And she's one of the best. So she can do amazing things. So make sure you get that show bookmarked. And it's the Hodgepodge Place. So if you've never been in one of her shows, go check it out. She sells mostly vintage and jewelry and a little bit of everything, but mostly vintage. All right. So yeah, no one's giving me any comments about shipping. So everybody has it nailed. Welcome in, Gabrielle. Peace to you as well. Hey, Kayla. So yeah, if anyone has any comments about shipping, let me know. Want you to fake it and ask something? Sure. It's like crickets in here, huh? No. Well, if everybody that's coming in today has no questions about shipping, that's telling me that probably we just need to focus on something specific. So I think I'm just going to focus on custom shipping profiles and kind of go through that whole process. So you're new, Linda Old Crow. You need shipping info. Okay. So do you need just really basics, DLB? Oh, so now everybody's coming out of the woodwork. um, so do you think it would be useful tomorrow evening? We're going to talk about shipping. Would it be useful for you if we go over the very basics? Um, you know, Does it hurt you to use your weekly exceptions? Not that I know of. Um, I haven't heard anything that if you use them all regularly that they're going to penalize you. That's all you got. Well, that was something. So yeah, I mean they're there for you to use. I wouldn't make a habit of purposely using them. They should be used appropriately, which is, when you have someone that orders way too much, or you screwed up a weight on something accidentally, or, stuff like that, or something just doesn't fit in the box that you originally planned and you have to use an exception, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, I mean, they're there for you to use. I mean, it's all, in my opinion, it's kind of an obvious admission from them that we understand that shipping is, a little bit tricky on our platform. So we've given you exceptions. And the reason that shipping is tricky is not because of anything they've done wrong or whatever. It's just because we don't know. We absolutely have no way of knowing who's going to show up in our shows and how much they're going to buy. You have no control over that. And the only thing you can do to prevent people from buying a ton is to either not sell it at all, or to make your show go shorter because you've got a couple people that bought too much, and nobody wants to have to do that. It's like, if you're selling, you want to keep selling, and it's not your fault that it's only two people that are buying everything or whatever. So I think that's a recognition that that's an issue, and they're giving you 5 exceptions to be able to deal with that, and it may or may not be enough, you know, but that's kind of how they dealt with it. Um, because it's just a new type of platform, and they have to work out the kinks, and shipping is one of those kinks that they just kind of have to deal with, because every other type of website that you can go shopping on, rarely do people buy the amount of product all at once from the same seller and have that problem. If you go on the Bay, or you go on the Zon, or you go on Posh or something, people rarely buy, boxes and boxes full of stuff all at once from the same seller. We have that issue here, because people get good deals and they want to make it worth their shopping time and their shipping, and they buy as much as they can sometimes. And yeah, that's an issue. So, they've dealt with that the best way they know how. I hope that that will continue to improve, that we can find better ways to deal with that. But right now we're kind of, I think we have an amazing rate. I mean, $9.21 for anything from 1 pound to 5 pounds, or 5 pounds and over, if you're able to offer flat rate reduced shipping, is an amazing shipping rate, all things considered. So, we're very fortunate as sellers that people can get a good bang for their buck on the shipping cost on whatnot. So, I feel very blessed that we get that amazing rate. So, and I think, every once in a while I'll have someone complain about the shipping. I'm like, whoa, Betty. Go compare that to pretty much every other platform, and you're going to be singing our praises, because it's a really good rate. Other than Amazon Prime, which you pay for, right? So, hello. Yeah, it's totally the best rate out there. So, make sure you promote that, because it is a really good rate. So I would say, as new sellers, to kind of combat not being able to offer reduced shipping. Really curate your shows. Yeah, other places you have to spend $80 to $100 to then get free shipping, which, I mean, you're paying for it one way or the other, right? I think Amazon Prime, if you are in business, pays for itself at some point if you order a lot. But yeah. Yes, when I take something to the post office myself to ship now. Oh, I know. Retail, just regular retail rates at the post office for a customer just walking in are astronomical. So, yes, it's so much. We have an amazing rate. So, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I just feel blessed about that, and make sure you kind of advertise and explain the good rate that we get here, and learn how to use it properly. So I was just thinking that for new sellers, a way to combat that is to curate your shows. What do I mean by that? I mean, curate your shows so that what you're selling is going to fit in the types of packaging that you can use to sell. If people buy a certain amount, do the smaller stuff together, maybe do shows where you do the larger stuff in custom shipping profiles so that you don't have problems with that. Maybe you do shorter shows so that people can't buy too much, but you do them more frequently. There's things you can do to help mitigate the problem of having shipping issues because people bought too much all at once. So, curate your shows, do smaller stuff, do less stuff, do more frequent shows, shorter shows where you sell less stuff. There's things like that you can do. So, we'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll talk about custom shipping profiles. And as far as the basics, let me just pin a couple of things. So this document goes over the basics. The only issue on this document is that you can no longer choose reduced shipping. So your settings for shipping are going to be either for the 1 to 5 pounds, you can choose either flat rate or priority. And then 5 pounds and over, you can either choose priority, flat rate, or ground advantage. And then it's just going to be buyer pays all. So honestly, if you have it set for buyer pays all, depending on what you sell, it's still depending on what you sell. For the customer's sake, you probably don't want to have the 5 pounds and over set for priority because that will cost them more. And so you probably want to have it set for probably you want to do priority and ground advantage. So 1 to 5 pounds priority, ground advantage for 5 pounds and over, because that will give you the widest range of options for packing. So that probably is your best option. And then look at it close, because if you do sell smaller items, and it would be hard for someone to get over 5 pounds, then you probably want to do flat rate, because then it just makes it a little bit easier on you to just use the flat rate packaging. So kind of read through that. So I just pinned that choosing basic shipping settings. Make sure you take a screenshot of that if you're new and go through that. And then if you go to my show notes, so those of you that are new, in my show notes, my YouTube channel, it's that second paragraph with the little talking head. That's my YouTube. And if you go to YouTube and go to my account, which is Draz on Whatnot. So it has my same logo. And then you go to the lives. So switch to the live shows and then scroll and find the one that's called Don't Sink Your Shipping. And it has a little ship as the title at the beginning of the title. So it's pretty easy to find it. Scroll down a little ways because it's been a while since I did that show, but it's still current except for the fact that they took away the reduced shipping option for new sellers. So here it is right here. See, it has that little ship emoji on it. So that live stream is the one you can watch. And I go over all the shipping, show you all the boxes, talk about how to decide what shipping settings are going to work for you. The other question they have not specifically answered is when will a new seller get the opportunity or get the setting to offer reduced shipping? They haven't answered that. So we don't know if it's tied to getting that 1,000 sales. We don't know if it's tied to a certain, 6 months, a year. I don't know. They haven't said. So I guess that's something they're still thinking through. So, do your best, do the best you can with shipping, and then we'll see what they say about when they're going to give that back to new sellers or change that setting. So I'm guessing it may be tied to the 1,000, just like, you have to hit 1,000 before you get instant payout. I'm guessing it will be tied with that, but I'm not sure. So I haven't heard for sure. All right. So, and then some other documents that I have that are really helpful with shipping. I think this one that Blaze and Bunny put together is awesome. It's a little chart that shows you the different USPS services and then what kind of packaging. So you just go down one column and then look in the other to know if you can use that type of package for that type of service. Yeah. So if you're a visual person that needs, something visual like that to help you understand, that one is very useful. The other one that's pretty useful is one that I put together, and it is right. Let's see, where'd it go? It's in this one that's called Shipping 101, which most of the Shipping 101 is just like yada, 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 yada. And then there's this at the end. So the last page of that one is this little shipping decision tree. I love this one. So this one, it's like it asks you the question and then it asks you yes, no, and it helps you figure out what kind of packaging you should be able to use for that order. And that one is, let me get that one pinned. So Shipping 101. And it's the last page in that one. So go through that one and take a picture of that chart as well. So you guys use that one a lot? Yeah. All right. So those are my, my basics for shipping. Honestly, just read everything you can find about shipping in Whatnot. So don't go out to YouTube. Don't go to one of the Facebook groups to learn how to do shipping. Read all the information that Whatnot offers and then use these charts and information in my live, because it just depends on what you sell. So if you go to a Facebook group or you go to a YouTube video and they give you shipping advice, they're giving their advice based on, usually based on what they sell, and it could be completely different information than you need because you sell something totally different. Because it really is based on what you sell and what volume you sell at. So once you hit a certain volume, and if you have the capability to offer reduced shipping, it's a the whole game changes because you're selling at a high enough volume that you can afford to maybe pay a little bit or take more risk, that you'll pay a little bit more of their shipping because you're selling enough that you can afford to do that. So it just depends on what you sell and how much you're selling, as to what type of shipping settings you use. So yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. If you want to come, bookmark that show. That's tomorrow evening. It's on my schedule right here. That's the show. Bert will be with me. He's a lot of fun. I'll do some giveaways. And yeah, we'll just have a little bit of fun talking about, well, if you can have fun talking about shipping, we'll try. How's that? So we'll try and have fun talking about shipping. Honestly, I enjoy shipping to a certain extent. It is one of the drudgeries of, having to do, you're welcome, something that you have to do when you sell. The funnest part, of course, is sourcing. We all love sourcing, right? And then, of course, selling, but then you do have to ship and fulfill your items. But I find shipping to be kind of relaxing. It's a monotonous thing. You aren't having to interact with your audience, you're just shipping. So if you don't enjoy shipping, find a way to set up your set shipping station so that everything's within reach. It's not stressful. Reorganize it, set it up in a way, get all the equipment you need at hand, and get some music going, or have it where you have a TV or something to make it enjoyable and less stress. Yeah, packing orders can be enjoyable. It's kind of like, everybody hates pulling weeds, right? But I always made it very enjoyable by taking out all my aggression on the weeds. So I would find it therapeutic to go out there and just like, pull all the weeds, make it something that, you can relax and enjoy, get it set up in a way. So yeah. I'm a little worried because Denise packed these past 3 shows and she's not as giving as me. That's funny. Your goal for New Year is to have everything set up in one place, ready to go. It makes a difference. Yes. Because shipping can be really frustrating if you don't have a nice setup. I think that's huge. That's hugely important to, have everything you need at hand so it just is a smooth process. We have it out in our garage. We have everything in reach. All the supplies. And if something gets out of its place accidentally, that's when it's like, what? Where's the scissors? Who took the scissors? Or whatever. So yeah, have everything in place. Your daughter helped me a couple of shows ago, and it's hard to let go of the reins. Yeah, it is. So Bert and I usually do it together, but every once in a while he does it while I do other things. And I'll be honest, I'm a little bit OCD too about who packed it. And he's good about packing. I'm not saying he's not, but I'm like, well, did you write notes? Did you include, because we always include little gifts or stickers or something, and I'm like, did you make sure everybody got something? And, because I like to have control over a little bit. I'm kind of a control freak, I'll admit it. So I get that too. I get it. You get sticker happy and triple check, make sure everything is secure. Yeah, I'm that way too. And he's like, calm down. It's okay. Everybody's stuff is fine. But I just feel like maybe he's not as, nitpicky as I am about how everything's packed. So I think he does great. But I just feel like maybe sometimes it's not as great as I would. I don't know. So yeah, with the amount you did and her being off work, oh yeah, she wanted to get it. Well, and that's important. It's important to get it out as fast as possible. That's the other thing, you know. Don't delay your shipping. Try to schedule shows in a way that you're going to be able to finish the show and immediately pack and send, or first thing the next morning, so that it's not sitting there. Because you want, that's, people do pay attention to that. If they go into people's accounts and someone's like 3, 4, 5 days shipping, they're like, I don't know if I want to shop here. Because that kind of indicates that someone's doesn't have their process down. And am I going to get it? Is it going to be sloppy? It's important to have that shipping, well, and whatnot requires you, so to speak, to have it shipped within 2 days. And if you do get chronically behind all the time, you will get, notified that you're in jeopardy. So keep your shipping caught up and do your very best to keep it within that 2-day frame. So you like to add peppermints instead of air packs. That's funny. You might get a snack. So yeah, try and keep it in that 2 days. I think that's important to show that you're on top of things, you're organized, and that you care that they get their stuff quickly. Because if you go into a shop and their shipping is way out, you're kind of like, okay, so it's important to you to take all my money, but it's not important to you that you get me my stuff fast. It sends a message. So make sure you get your shipping done quickly. You've had great reviews from your little snacks. That's awesome. Yeah, I think people enjoy getting little fun things in their packaging. I don't think it's 100% necessary, but even just a little note, a thank you sticker goes a long way. People feel like you care, that they're appreciated, that you appreciate their order. So there was a dog that died from eating a pack of gum. Wow. So he could smell it through the package, ripped through the package and chewed the pack of gum. Probably more from just chewing through all the paper and stuff. Did it like get stuck in his throat? That's horrible. Yeah. Yeah, I enjoy getting packages with a little bit of love. I mean, I'm not a huge like send me a bunch of little things, trinkets, because I don't, because then eventually I have this huge box of all the stuff I've gotten from people, and then I have to either, figure out if I'm going to use it or give it away myself. But I honestly like a little note the best. To me, that's like they took the time to tell me thank you, and that I hope you enjoy what I sent, but I honestly don't send business cards. I think that's a waste of paper. Because I think mostly they just go in the trash. I don't know, some people like to collect little cards and stuff, but I just feel like that's a little bit too um it's overkill if people aren't going to use them and save them. And so I kind of tend not to do that. But I do like to send little things, little gifts. Mostly I send free fabric. Who's going to complain about that? Right? So since I mostly sell fabric and crafts, I send a lot of free fabric. People get little um, fabric samples or quilt squares or, things like that. Free fabric's always good. So, and then we send lots of sticker packets and stuff like that. Okay, something just popped on my treadmill. That was weird. Let's see. I was including business cards with every order, but now I have moved to branded stickers because I realize they probably just get trashed. Yeah. Yeah. I just had one of those epiphanies one day. I was like, I was getting a lot of business cards, and I'm like, what do I do with these? It's not like the old days where you had a Rolodex and you kept everybody's cards. People just everything's digital. And I was finding myself feeling guilty about throwing them away, but I'm like, what am I going to do with these? And so I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do business cards because I feel like most people will just throw it away. So I just felt like it was not environmentally friendly and not really worth what I spent to get them printed to include business cards. So, yeah. I use my cards for packaging in my booth now, so it was getting expensive. Yeah. So, use up what you have, obviously, but then probably don't order more. I just feel like everything's so digital that people just don't save paper cards and flyers. And I mean, think about it like the amount of junk mail you get now compared to what you used to get is a lot less because people are realizing people just don't want paper advertising. I mean, we still get it to a certain extent, but not like it used to be because people just have gone away from using paper. Yeah. I've made stickers with my QR code to my Whatnot page, and they're significantly more affordable. Yes. Yeah, because that's something you can just stick right on the packing slip. And then if they want to remember who you are other than your name, quick QR code scan, boom, they're in your account. So yeah, I love that idea. That's awesome. Um, and I do think it's important to include at least the first page of the packing slip. And if they're new, I would include the whole packing slip um, because there's got to be something inside that package that if it gets misplaced, there's something inside that identifies who it was for. So that first page of your packing slip has their name and address on it. So I include at least that in there. And for anyone that's new, I include the entire packing slip. Um, a lot of my longtime repeat customers, they just don't want it. They don't want the whole thing. They've told me that because you can go in and, on your account and get your packing slip and see your order, right? If I feel like someone's going to want it or they've said something, I'll include the whole thing. But yeah, I include the first page, I write a note on it, and then we include other things. So that's what we've been doing, and that's been pretty successful for us. Um, but yeah, I always include that at least that first page of the packing slip. I always want the slip. Plus, if it's packaged, the package gets damaged. There's something inside. Yeah, exactly. There's something in there that identifies who it belongs to. And I think that's important. So I just trash mine. Yeah, they usually end up getting trashed, but at least if the package has it in there before it gets to you, at least that first page, then there's an identifier for who it belongs to. Um, yeah, and I agree. I think it's a waste of paper since the information is on the app. But that first, something in the package that identifies who it's for is important. So that's kind of where I lie, is at least that first page, name and address. So, and then, some people who are buying, if they do a lot of their sourcing on Whatnot, they may want those packing slips for tax purposes to prove their purchase. But again, you can just get that information on the app. So I don't know. It's kind of a mixed bag of what people want or don't want. So I kind of taken the medium, the in between. Yeah, you just print it all on one page. And I do that a lot on new sellers or new buyers. I print the whole thing, but I print it so it prints all on either one page or two pages, depending on how much they bought. Part of the problem with the packing slips is that the way that they've formatted it, it prints a little, in my opinion, a little bit too much information. And so it takes up a lot of pages if you want to print the whole thing. I wish they would reduce the amount of information they include. So, in my opinion, it should just be the order number and the description and nothing else. Because right now it includes the condition of the item and the price and all that other stuff. I wish it were just a little short blip. Um, we've requested that. Hopefully, they're going to try and do some things because I know the bigger sellers, it's a big problem if you're a big seller because how can think about how many orders they're trying to fulfill and how many labels they go through if they print the entire packing slip for all customers. That's a lot of labels, and labels aren't cheap. So it could definitely be condensed. So that's definitely been requested, at least get the condition off of there, maybe make the font a little bit smaller, do something so that it reduces the size. Because there's nothing more annoying than having someone buy one item and because they're new or because your description had one extra word in it, instead of a one page label, it's a two-page label. And you're just like, ugh, why? You know, they need to reduce the amount of information that it automatically puts so you don't have to have a two-page label if someone bought one item. Yeah. I think mostly just even that, if they're a new customer, just putting that little new above their name actually slides everything down one line. I think there's a lot of times why that's the only reason why it's a two-page instead of one page. Super annoying. So yeah, they need to have less information on those packing slips. So it's shorter. All right. So everyone that is in the audience today that is brand new, like you haven't had a show or you've only had one or two shows, can you shout yourself out so everyone can give you a follow? And I'm happy to share a few profiles if you want me to share your profile. I'm always curious how many people in the audience are, super new. So if you're really new, tell us in chat, I'm new and how long, if you had a show yet, not had a show yet, feel free to shout yourself out and we can give you a follow. And if someone wants me to share their profile, I'm happy to do that. Because I like to recognize people who are brand new and kind of just starting out. When I first started selling on Whatnot, there were only maybe one or two people that I know of that I can think of who actually did any kind of help shows, seller chats. And they were immensely helpful to me because there really wasn't a lot out there yet on like, now you can go to YouTube and then every Tom, Dick, and Harry's doing a Whatnot show about this, that, or the other. But there weren't a lot of people doing any kind of seller chats on here. And so I was very appreciative of the few people who did because I got a lot of information about how to do certain things. And the app is like a totally different place now than when I first started selling. It's gone through so many changes and just having somewhere to go every time something changes and find out information about what's new, what's changing, what got updated is helpful, I think. So I try to stay informed and on top of things. I am part of the community support team. What that means is that there's a group of sellers who have direct contact with Whatnot employees about updates and other things. And we meet semi regularly to talk about things, and we provide them with feedback of things that we're hearing and seeing, and we can provide direct feedback. So, any of the sellers that are part of the community support team, you'll know just because a lot of times they'll put it in their profile, or you'll know just because you've heard, oh, so and so's on that, so and so's on that. So some of the bigger sellers that are part of the community support team are, I'll just start naming a few names. So you've got, well, Blaze and Bunny, whose thing I just shared is part of it. The Red Rooster is in Canada. She's part of it. Let's see. The Hodgepodge Place is part of it. Shop 801 is part of it. And they're all, my mind's going blank. But anyway, there's a lot of sellers that are part of, there's about 30 of us, I think, that are part of the community support team. So, nothing really amazing about us except that we are a trusted source for information, because we do have that direct link, and we try to keep on top of accurate information and give out accurate information. Right now, the only option is to get notifications from everyone you follow, or none, which is not feasible. Yeah. I don't love that either. It would be nice to have some separate categories of notifications. That also has been requested. So that we could maybe break it down into favorites instead of just everything we've bookmarked. Because I like to bookmark shows for people, because I think it helps, and I think it's a nice gesture if you can't attend everybody's show but still bookmark it. But yeah, you can't follow all the notifications for everything you've bookmarked. That's insane, right? Yeah, it would be nice if they could tailor it so we could pick and choose. Yeah, I agree. So that definitely has been requested. And lately, over the last couple of months, notifications have been doing weird things. So I wonder if they're working on some stuff. Because notifications have been delayed and doing weird stuff over the last couple of months. So it's possible that they are, working on some things. I wouldn't be surprised at all. So that would be awesome. And yeah, they for some reason have chosen not to do that update show tomorrow. So they're probably still working on some things that they want to talk about. So they've delayed it till next month. They're doing a lot of updates. You can tell because there's just some weird things that happen from day to day, and you're like, okay, they're in there working away, trying to get some stuff done. Not so much more money, because we would be able to find people we love more often. Yeah, exactly. It would make it better if we could have it more specific to, if we could have some favorites, and maybe, yeah, break it down more so that it's the ones that we want to see more often. So you had the word wet in your word, and so it muted your message for some reason. Let's see. How do you find where to go for Whatnot meetings? So it's in my show notes. If you look at the show notes at the very bottom, it is a hub. So meetups.whatnot.com. So it's the last start bullet in the show notes. And you can go to that website and it will show you all of the local meetups that are happening. So if there's one that you're able to go to, it gives you the details in there. And then it also is a way that you can apply to host a Whatnot local meetup. So that's where. So it's that meetups.whatnot.com. And it's the last start bullet in the show notes. Yeah, I love following people and bookmarking shows. I honestly have my notifications turned off completely. If there's a show I absolutely don't want to miss, I put it in my personal calendar because I do shows like this and I follow lots of people and I bookmark lots of shows and there's no way I would ever get to everything I follow and bookmark. It's just not possible. So, but I still want to do that because it does help people's algorithms. It does help people to get more followers and more bookmarks. That's huge. So I do that as much as possible to help people out. I just, and I think people should continue to do that. It's just that you can't, get to everything. And where do we find Whatnot's updates? Do they post a video or a chat? Well, we're supposed to have had a show on the Whatnot seller account tomorrow, but they delayed it. So if you go to this account, Whatnot Sellers, it's just an account here on the app, just like your account. And then bookmark all these shows they have scheduled. That's where they talk about updates. And then in the show notes, so that's the first start bullet in the show notes. The second start bullet in the show notes is their YouTube account. And any of these shows that they've had in the past, they post the videos after the fact to their YouTube account. So if you go to YouTube and go to the you type it in with the ampersand. So type in what not app and search that and you'll find it. There's a lot of Whatnot content. So find the one that's that. It's just that right there. Has their official logo. It's their official YouTube account. And that's where they've posted the videos from that account after the fact. So if you miss one of those live shows, you can come here and watch them on the YouTube account. Okay. And there's a lot of good ones. A lot of those good interviews are really good, where they've interviewed sellers, where they've talked about updates. And another good source is to go to the Whatnot blog, which is I think it's the fourth start bullet. Yeah, the fourth start bullet in the show notes is the blog address. Definitely worth checking out. Go to the Whatnot blog. It's blog.teamwhatnot.com. Again, it's the fourth start bullet in the show notes. And there's lots of good articles. They talk about updates. They talk about the business side of Whatnot, talking about funding, talking about things that they're planning on doing for the business. They give statistics about the business. It's a really good thing to go and read the Whatnot blog. So, yeah, go there as well. Lots of good info. And those videos that they do on the Whatnot seller account, a lot of them are geared towards new sellers. So they have specific videos they've done that teach you just really basic things like how to set up your first show, how to set up your computer and your camera and everything to just stream your first show. Think really basic stuff like that. They go over stuff like that. So go to that YouTube account and watch past shows that they've posted on there. Lots of good info. The third start bullet in the show notes is Seller Academy. And that's just the link, selleracademy.whatnot.com. They have all the videos, some of those same types of things posted there. So if you're brand new, go to Seller Academy and go through all the little tutorials they have in there about different topics. It just teaches you the very basics of how to start out learning to be a seller. And I would highly recommend doing that first before you go out side of Whatnot to any YouTube videos or other sources, because the best information to learn how to use the app is from the app itself. And then if you feel like you need more nitty gritty details, because they do kind of tend to be a little bit generic because they're speaking to the wider audience, and they don't get into specifics about what you sell and what's different about this and that and the other. But always go to that source first and use the information here internally on the app first before you go out to outside sources. And then help.whatnot.com is your best friend. Those videos are on the YouTube account. So if you look in the show notes, the YouTube account for Whatnot is the second starred bullet. So at Whatnot app on YouTube, and you can watch those videos. And then the third one is the Seller Academy. So Seller Academy is where you can go and watch all the tutorial videos that they've created for new sellers. So just look in the show notes. Take a screenshot of all those starred bullets that are in my show notes. Those are all your official sources, official Whatnot sources for getting information, help, tutorials, etc. So take a screenshot of all those links that are in the show notes in those starred bullets. Welcome in, welcome in. So nobody chimed in when I asked if you were brand new and wanted us to, you wanted a little bit of attention. So if there is anyone here that is like brand new and would love some follows, love for me to pull up your profile, don't be shy. I'm happy to do that. Because that can get you some, a few followers, and we can look at your profile, bookmark any shows if you've scheduled some shows. So feel free to say me if you want me to do that. And yeah, I can go through your profile and give you some advice about it if you want some feedback about, what you've set up on there. So don't be shy if someone wants me. Like it, swipe it. Or you want me to critique yours? You might not like what I say. No. Dory Door says, I need to get information in for profile, but I will be working on this tonight because you want to sell this week. Awesome. So do you have shows scheduled, Dory, that we can bookmark? Do you care if I go look? We're going to go look at Like It, Swipe It for just a minute before Dory responds. Oh, I love I haven't seen this. Your logo. That's pretty cool. So is that pretty new, or I just haven't looked lately? So very cool. I like your new logo. and Like It Swipe It has shows scheduled forever. She's a lot of fun because she always puts their faces on different characters. It's pretty hilarious. So, yeah. Oh my gosh. That one's pretty epic with Marilyn. That's fun. Yeah, you never know what you're going to see on a Like It Swipe It thumbnail. So, lots of fun. And apparently the rumors are out there that she needs a hairbrush. Just saying. Don't know what that's all about for sure, but because I missed it. All right, so Dory doesn't have shows scheduled yet. Oh, but she does have a backdrop up there. So everybody give Dory Door a follow. And then as soon as you have shows scheduled, let us know so we can come in and bookmark them for you. So I would recommend that your little heading here bullet it out so it's not just one big paragraph. That looks nice. I would maybe suggest using something different than the dog as both the logo and the background so that you have a picture of what you sell. So just, something different so it's not both the same thing. Yeah, and you're working on it. So, yeah. So, yep. Yeah, she's a hairstyle trendsetter for the community. Oh dear. I'm treading I'm going down a path. I'm gonna shut up. Is Lisa here? Or she's shouting out Lisa for saying anything. That's funny. All right. So everybody else is being shy, but I do have a good idea now what we're going to do for sure in the show tomorrow. She's the troublemaker that started the hair thing. Ah, okay. Do you recommend AI to help? In what way? I mean, AI can do amazing things for you, like create thumbnails that would take you normally a month to create in 5 seconds. So definitely use AI for your thumbnails. You can use AI to help you come up with ideas and brainstorm for your shows. You can use AI to do product research, stuff like that. We are still beta testing AI for generating your listings. So that is coming down the pike. I don't know when they're going to officially release it and start giving it out, but it is in the works for creating listings and it rocks. So it was pretty rough at first, but it's getting better and better and better. So you're going to be able to put in a category, put in some pictures, and use AI to generate your listings soon. Soon. Don't know when for sure, but it's going to be awesome. So your background wording for subject shows. Yeah, just really you can use AI for whatever is helpful for you. I use it mostly for creating thumbnails. I have done shows mostly. I'm reading P. Tiffany in the crafting community, but I have a few ideas to do a cross category show in coins. And I'm worried. Is coins one of the categories that you have to have permission to sell in? I think it is. It's not. Oh, it's not. Okay. So 2 different answers there. Pretty sure and no. So there's certain categories that are gated, meaning you have to have permission to sell in that category. So go check and make sure. I can look it up really quick. Let's see. Let's just go into help and ask. what the gated categories are. So where do I get to? Oh, I forgot it's in the, where's help? I don't go there very often anymore. So now I'm like, okay, where is it? Where'd they move it to? How do you get to just asking for help? They'd mainly be antique coins. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have to have um, frequently asked questions. There we go. All right, finally found it. And let's ask gated categories. All right, so the gated categories are luxury bags and accessories, surprise sets in sneaker and streetwear, surprise sets in bags and accessories, and supplements. So it's not mentioning coins. So I think coins must not be gated. So then you're fine, right? Because I don't see it on the list. So you should be good. Yeah, once you've sold a certain amount of items, they automatically approve you for card breaks if you want to do them. It just means that you're allowed to sell in cards if you want to. They just want people to be a certain have a certain amount of experience. So right now, these are the only ones that are gated. I didn't supplements is new. That's new on here on the list. So that's a newer category and you have to be approved to sell in that. Interesting. So luxury bags, surprise sets and sneakers and streetwear, and surprise sets and bags and accessories and supplements. So there you go. Yeah, surprise sets are not how do I word this? They are kind of discouraging sellers from doing surprise sets. That's probably the nicest way I can say it. They're discouraging people from doing shows in that category. Um, you got a proof for luxury bags. So, yeah, my husband has done surprise sets. I don't enjoy them. To me, the whole, if you go read the rules for surprise sets, maybe I'm just stupid, but I read it and I'm like, I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. And therefore, I don't want to do a show in it because I probably would screw it up. Because I read it and it just doesn't even make sense to me. So, yeah. Oh, you got approved and didn't even apply. Oh, yeah. I think, like I said, I think after a certain amount of time, there are certain categories they just automatically give you approval for if you want to sell in that category. They aren't great because a lot of surprise sets have been overloaded with very low value based prices. Yeah. I just, yeah, I stay away from that just because I don't want to get in trouble because that is one of the categories. You know, if you schedule a show under the surprise set instead of an auction, did you know that you aren't even allowed to promote those shows? So you can't promote them. And they honestly do not feature shows that are scheduled under that category as much because they've had so many people be disappointed in and complain about those kinds of shows. And so they really kind of are dumbing it down, if that's the right way to say it. So, yeah. I prefer if I do anything like that, that it's, I show it as I run it. So like we do a show with our fabric where we do rolls, we do bundles, but I show it as I run it. So it's not really a mystery. and then they can choose to bid in or not. So, you open all your mystery packs live and make sure they're happy and give them the option to trade. So what mystery packs are you doing? Oh, do you sell cards on your show? Do you have a show where you're selling cards? I didn't even know that. Under your same account? Oh, the mystery half yards. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that's not really a mystery because you show it and then if they want to swap it out. Okay. Yeah. And you don't schedule that show under surprise sets, right? Do you schedule it under surprise sets or do you schedule it under auction? Because I guess technically, if you're selling it where it is a complete mystery, but as long as you're giving them the option to swap it, I guess that's probably okay. I don't know. So, no. So they buy it first, mystery day, fat quarters, and half yards. Okay. Surprise set shows usually feature the randomizer. Yeah, because they randomize who gets what number, right? Or who gets what after they've picked a number. Yeah. So yeah, I just haven't really delved into that kind of show because I just felt like, if they're not really excited about it, then I don't want to be excited about it. And I know they're a lot of fun and people had a lot of fun with them, but obviously not lot of people liked it because they complained so much that they just felt like it wasn't worth the, really trying to feature it because it gets a little bit too close to gambling, and then people get their feelings hurt, and then it's just like, oh my gosh. So yeah, the surprise set category sets up the numbers and does it digitally, sort of like how people do the envelope. Yeah, I know how it works with that randomizer. So it sets up the numbers and then it picks the number that they get or whatever, right? You can do one way or the other. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. As items are removed, the odds either get better or worse. Yeah, and then you get down to a point if all of the really good stuff's already been opened. It's like who wants to bid on what's left? Nobody, right? Yeah. Well, and honestly, it's a big part sellers who ruined it because you had sellers that were swapping out stuff, that were sending what people actually won. There was a lot of hanky crap going on the seller end too. And so it's kind of both. But yeah, if you're going to participate in something like that, you should not be a baby whiner if you don't get what you wanted. It's a gamble. It really is. It's not gambling. It's the way they have it set up if you do it correctly, but it, it borderline is on that. And so if you're not a gambling person, you shouldn't be participating in those types of shows because you're not going to be happy. So, but yeah, you had some pretty scammy sellers that were doing bad stuff and switching things out. And that's why one of the rules is everything has to be on full display all the time so that someone can't behind the scenes swap something out, change a bag, change a box. It's got to be on full display the whole time so people can trust that what you preloaded is there as is and they aren't playing favorites or something like that. So yeah. Yeah. So if you're new and you have ideas about doing mystery stuff, a lot of people don't even realize that you can't do certain things. So make sure you go read the section called surprise sets. And then if you have ideas of games or fun things you want to do, that it meets the requirements so you don't get in trouble for doing a type of show you're not allowed to do. So, yeah, or people didn't describe it well enough. Yeah, exactly. Melissa's asking if I decide to start selling and want to change or add to my name, will the people that are already following me remain as my followers? Yes, they will. And usually people will just put a little note in their profile. So if you change your name, completely different, just put previously Melissa and Sam so that they know, oh, they just changed their name. So that they know it's you. But yes, you retain all your existing followers and bookmarks and everything. So none of that changes. When you want to change your name, you do have to have all orders fulfilled and nothing outstanding financially or in your account or anything before you change your name. And I would do it, if you are not actively selling right now, then do it before you start selling. And then again, like I said, so I just pulled your account up here. So just do it before you have everything set up. And that way it's kind of seamless. And you just put in your little profile message, previously this name. So the few people that you have in there already following know that you just changed your name. So let me give you a follow. So what are you planning on selling? Welcome. And that's exciting. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So yeah, I was thinking coins, maybe coins were once a gated, maybe not. I thought for some reason they were, but apparently not. So on coins, probably you just need to be really cautious to make sure that you don't sell anything that's fake or that you have all the accurate information on the coins, because that's a big deal in something like that that's collectible, to make sure it's authentic. And if you want to sell graded, then obviously you need to know how that works. So you would need to make sure you know how grading works and that you're accurately representing what you're selling. So, just anything like that's branded or authenticated, or, make sure you go through the hoops to accurately represent what you're selling. All right. So what did Like It, Swipe It say that you're saying oh about? Did I miss something? Oh, she says freaking patience. Just kidding. I know. We always laugh because it's like, I'm like, she has a legit job, but is it legit? Just asking for a friend. Welcome in, everybody joining. If you have questions, put them in chat. Anything you want to talk about. I'm just here. I walk on my treadmill Tuesdays and Thursday mornings. We talk about whatever, is on my mind, on your mind. If you have questions about being a seller and whatnot, I can try and guide you for information. I put tons of information in my show notes with links of where you can go to get official information. There's 5 different starred bullets. Go take a screenshot of my show notes. And then all of the documents that are in my auction tab. So if you click on the shop button and go to the auction tab, all of these are different documents or resources that you can just screenshot the pages to get help with different things. So I've got one about shipping. I've got a couple about shipping. I've got some about all the different kinds of topics. This is one of my favorite that I put together. It's just kind of a makes you think. The 5 F's of attracting buyers. Go through this one, take a screenshot of it. It's the 5 F's that are kind of like describe what you need to be doing on a basic level to be successful as a seller and whatnot. And the very first thing on there is you need to have fun shows, period. Nobody wants to come to your shows if you don't make them fun, inviting. And I mean, it doesn't have to be a 3 ring circus. It just needs to, people need to enjoy being in your show, or why else would they want to be there? You could have the most amazing products, most desired products on the planet. And if your shows are not fun, people are not going to come and people are not going to stay. And and everybody has a different vibe. So what's fun to one person may not be fun to someone else. And that's okay. You just need to make them fun, your style, your how you work, and you'll find your tribe. The next F is fast pace. You need to have your shows go at a fast enough clip that people aren't totally bored, or they come in and no one's there, no one's talking, no one's showing anything, and they're like, what the heck is this? So lots of downtime, lots of dead time. Nobody's going to stick around. You've got to have a nice clip showing things, talking, sharing, blah, 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 blah. It's got to go. So no one's going to stick around if it's not at a nice pace. Findings, you've got to have good enough stuff for people to want to see and want to buy. So really think about and do some research and be realistic about what you're selling to make sure it's what people want to see and want to buy. I feel bad because there's a lot of sellers who come on with some stuff and they don't have a grasp on reality of what people actually want to buy. So if nobody's buying your stuff and you've kind of weeded out the other possibilities of why no one's sticking around in your shows, it may be that you're selling stuff that nobody wants. That's just real, so make sure you have stuff people want to buy. And yes, it changes from minute to minute almost. So you got to stay on top of what's trending, what people want. And you got to be flexible. And if what you planned to show and sell is not selling that day, flip your show on a dime to something else to make it worth your time. So you've always got to have backup plans and have variety. And yeah, you got to be able to flip your show. So, just realize that. And then the 4th F is fulfillment. Even if you have great shows that are at a good fast pace and you have great stuff, if you suck at getting your stuff shipped on time and giving good customer service, it's all going to come crashing down fast. So make sure you're set up for success in being able to ship and provide good customer service before you even start selling. And then the last F is frequency. Frequency really is what determines how fast you grow on the platform. If you're here once a month, you're going to have really slow growth. If you're here every day or multiple times a day, you're going to grow a lot faster than someone who can only go live once a week. So frequency is everything. Do shows as fast or as often as you want for your, if you want to grow really fast, you got to be here a lot. That's what I'm saying. If you can't be here a lot, don't expect that you're going to be able to grow really fast. It's just not going to happen. Frequency is everything. So people need to see you often enough that they then make your shows part of their regular schedule. So, it's just how often do you want to be seen is how much it correlates with how fast you're going to be able to grow in your business. Let's see. And what people pay in Draj's show for the same item they might not pay in mine. Can't get your feelings hurt over. Oh, absolutely. Because you don't know who's going to be in what show. Um, you'll really only ultimately need two people that want the same item. Because if you just have nice stuff and everybody's just casually buying, you'll sell it for probably what you set it for, or maybe it'll get bid up once or twice. But if two people really hotly want that item, the sky's the limit as much until one of them gives up. You know, it just depends on who's in your show and what people want on any given day. And it's just a fun game. And if you can't stand that game, this is probably not for you. If you find that too frustrating, and it can be frustrating, but it also is quite hilarious. FOMO is real. FOMO is real. Go into a show, do an experiment. Go into a show that you've never been in. And, if you have, some money and no one's bidding, find something in their show that you like and bid on it. And watch someone else who will now bid because you bid. Because suddenly somebody wants it, now someone else wants it. So it's just it's kind of that, it's just a mentality of, how many people want it. The first time someone wants it, suddenly someone else wants it. And you just need enough people that want the same item or don't want someone else to get it for that price. It could be as simple as that. Oh my gosh, that's a really good price. I'm not going to let her get it for that low of a price. I'm going to bid. And then someone else is like, well, dang, you know? So you just need enough people where they're going to do that. Or yeah, we in fabric we do get the polite people who are like, "Oh, so and so bid, I'm not going to bid. I want her to be able to get it." We have too many of those. It's kind of funny, right? So, yeah, and people get caught up in the frenzy a little bit sometimes too. I will pay thousands to outbid you. Yeah. So, kind of funny. There's definitely dynamics. And I'm sure in some categories it's even way worse. I know that there's some categories where it's super cutthroat. They simply don't want a certain person to get it. Or, they'll be, hell will freeze over before I will give this item up. That kind of attitude. I'm sure that goes on in some other categories. In our categories, people are a lot more nice. So, yeah. Lisa and I used to be that way, but now we realize we have the same taste, so all's fair in love and whatnot. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with Jean's Eye, it's George, go, go, go. Yeah, it gets you hyped up. Yeah, it does. So, yeah. I just raised my starting bid because people are too nice. Yeah. And sometimes you do. I mean, if you find that people aren't bidding up, start your prices a little bit higher. You don't have to be rude about it. It's just, I can't afford to sell it for $2. So it's, $5 today because no one's bidding. Do what you're in control, be in control, and do it in a nice way. People have to understand that you do have to make a profit or it's not worth it to be on here selling. So you just have to read the room and, take control and be nice about it. And people understand. Okay. I find if I find a line I'm looking for that has been hard to find, it's worth it to pay the extra. Yeah. And most people feel that way. If there's a fabric or a craft item that you've been looking for and it's a hard to find one, of course, multiple people are going to want to bid up on it, right? Dollar starts make me sad, but I have been trying out doing a few at the end. It keeps people at the show. Yeah. I would say mixing them in is fun. I definitely do that a lot. Mix in dollar starts. Because if you don't have a big enough audience, it's really hard to do low starts. Because just you just don't have enough people in there. And even though people say they love the low starts, they sometimes love it a little bit too much and it'll be too nice and not bid it up. So, be careful about doing low starts. Do the low starts when you have a big enough audience and then mix them in every once in a while to reward the chat if things are going well. So, yep. Yep. Because even the bigger sellers that consistently do dollar starts, if you sit and watch, in a Jean's Eye show, every once in a while something does sell for $1 or $2. And trust me, she's losing her shorts on 1 or 2 items. But because she can sell enough, it offsets it, right? And it's worth it to her to build up the audience that way, right? So it just depends on your strategy and how fast you want to grow and what you need to do. So you decide. It's funny too, because if what I've noticed in our shows sometimes is if we get chatting about something and Bert's yakking or telling jokes or singing or something and people get distracted, I'll have to actually wait to run the items because if I don't, then people are all busy thinking about what he's saying or singing or doing, and people get distracted and don't bid. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait a second before I run that item because otherwise nobody's going to bid on it because they're too distracted. So yeah, be careful about low starts. Use them to your advantage, but don't, people who want to come onto the app and just go for gold all at once. They want to, they've quit their job and they want to go 0 to 1,000 in 10 days. They will sometimes do low starts, free shipping, reduced shipping right off the bat that's their strategy, that's their model. If you can afford to do that, great, because you are going to take a loss at the beginning to get that going. But it does build the momentum if you've got a good plan. Okay. Just be careful about that if you don't have it all set up correctly and don't know what you're doing. And right now, new sellers can't offer reduced shipping anyway. So, that's going to be hard. I'm new to Whatnot. If I bid and I am the high bid, if I bid again, did I just outbid myself? Yes. Yeah. So if you bid again and no one else bid before that, you just outbid yourself. So yeah, don't swipe. You keep doing that. Yeah. Sometimes people will do that just to, um, make sure no one else does bid. So that's okay. That's legit. And actually, sometimes people will do it out of kindness because you don't want it to go for that low. You feel like it's definitely worth more. But yeah, that happens. I've done that accidentally before because it's frenzied, and people are bidding, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I bid really quick to try and make sure, that I've done that before a few times. But yes, custom bids. Use that custom bid. It's very nice. So if there's something you really want, put that custom bid in first. And then you've already got the price that you've got in there. And hopefully no one outbids you. Yes, the topped out shipping is awesome. Sadly, new sellers aren't able to use the reduced shipping right now. So yeah. But that makes a big difference in our category because you can buy a lot of fabric for 921 and still get a big old box full. That's kind of nice for sure. Um, I think it's just part of their emphasis on trust and safety right now. They're just making sure that new sellers know what the heck they're doing before they start offering reduced shipping. Because as a new seller, if you don't know what you're doing, and you offer reduced shipping and then you're not able to fulfill orders, or you end up paying more in shipping than your whole show was worth, then those new sellers obviously get really discouraged or don't send the orders. It creates a customer service nightmare. So I think they're just is just part of their focus on trust and safety to make sure that new sellers know what they're doing. And so if they can't offer reduced shipping, it's just set at buyer pays all. It's going to be a lot less of a customer service nightmare on the back end. Um, but it makes it hard for new sellers to get traction because a lot of people filter for shows that offer reduced shipping. So you may not even get found. Yeah. So we'll see how it fleshes out. They haven't revealed if what the criteria is for when they will get the opportunity to offer reduced shipping again. I don't know if it's going to be tied to that 1,000 sales or what. So, kind of an interesting thing that they did. So, there's just a really strong focus right now on trust and safety because they've obviously had some issues with sellers being scammy, with people not being able to fulfill orders. And so they're really focused on making sure sellers are, trustworthy. So, yeah, everybody likes reduced shipping. I mean, we all want to have, to get the lowest shipping costs we can possibly, right? Um, yeah, you're so welcome. As a new buyer in Fabric Hoarder, I appreciate this new platform. Yeah. Yeah. And you'll find a few months from now that you'll be like, okay, I appreciate it a little bit too much. We all do. So, yeah. So, Dawn says, I only shop from shows that cap out at 921. Yeah. Most of us want someone who's offering reduced shipping. So, it is going to be tough for new sellers to be able to make some traction if they aren't able to offer that reduced shipping. So, like I said, I'm not sure what the criteria is going to be for when they'll be able to offer it. So, we'll find that out soon, hopefully, because it's kind of new. I haven't figured out exactly when they activated that. It just kind of, and they didn't really announce it, it just kind of happened. So, yeah, not sure. Not sure. So, but yeah, they're definitely cracking down on trust and safety. They're hiring new people for for that kind of job to do trust and safety and really trying to crack down on sellers who are doing scammy things. Um, I mean, that's when you've arrived. Whatnot has arrived because, when you become popular enough that all of the bad people are coming as well as the good people, that means the word is out. so so they have to really crack down on the people who want to scam. You had for a little while there, you had people coming on and doing a show where they were selling one item as fast as they could to try and hit that 1,000 sales. And I was like, dudes, did you not read the whole information? Because you have to fulfill those 1,000 orders before you can get instant payout. Just selling 1,000 things is not going to get you instant payout. And there were people on doing shows like that where they were trying to sell 1,000 things all at once really fast. And I think their intent was to then cash out and be gone and not fulfill the orders. Because I was in one day where someone in chat said, you do realize you have to ship everything before you get payout, right? And they immediately shut the show down. So then I'm sure Whatnot had to refund however many of those orders they actually sold, right? So, or they've had people that do a like a dead show where they just have an item posted for a low amount and they're just trying to sell a bunch of items. Yeah, there's just, I mean, there's all kinds of people that are just trying to do all kinds of scammy stuff. So they've had to really crack down on stuff like that. And if you see anything like that, please report it. So if you're in a show and they're doing something that you're like, whoa, or you see a show that's just like a dead show where they just aren't, there's nobody in the show selling and they've just got an item listed and um stuff like that, because you're not allowed to do dead streams where you go live but no one's actually there. So that's against terms of service. So you need to report that. So the way that you report is you just click on the person's name at the top, and then one of the things on drop down is to report. And then just give them the reason why you're reporting it. Because that really just helps them out to find things and find things that are, and if there's an emergency, like someone's actually doing something inappropriate or trying to sell something that's way out of terms, like guns or something like that, please report stuff because that helps them to quickly find and shut down issues. I haven't seen it as much lately, but honestly, I haven't been on a lot because I've been spending time with family over the holidays. So, yeah, just make sure you report stuff that you see like that is obviously fishy and weird so that they can shut things like that down quickly. Let's see. I was on one day where there was a guy selling puppies. Yes, I was in that same one. That was so bizarre, right? And yeah, it went on too dang long. And that's why they're really focused on, being able to get to that kind of stuff faster. So it took a long time. There was a show scheduled in our fabric category that had the thumbnail was just a bra. It was like the torso of a woman in a bra, and they had a single listing for a bra, and it just sat there. It was live. It was just sat there live for like 24 hours. And I kept reporting it. And finally, I messaged through my connection and was like, can you please get this off? This is ridiculous. They had only sold one item, but still, it was taking up space in our category, sitting there live for 24 hours. And it's just like, what is this? Super annoying. Let's see. I chose to sell a few things that were just $2 to get to my 1,000 sales. I made it a week ago Monday. Oh, congrats. Yeah, and that's, a lot of sellers have to do something like that to get to your 1,000 sales faster. And if you have something that you can afford to, do a low start on, go for it. Especially if it's something that you've had sitting around your house, you don't even remember what you spent on it, how long ago. Get it out of there, use it as your way to get to your 1,000 sales. Why not? Right? So that's awesome. And that's a huge milestone to be able to get to that 1,000 sales and be able to get instant payout. So, yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. All of my starting bids will be $2 to $3. I hope some will be bid up because of their collectible value, but otherwise I've just had these. Yeah. So if you have stuff like that, why not? Why not use it to help build your sales, build your following? Just my only caution would be don't set a precedent that then bites you on the butt later, because you don't want to get people so used to doing a low start on everything that then they won't bid anything else up when you change your pricing. So mix it in, do some and some not, so that it's not just a set thing. If that's, if you're going to change your pricing later, don't, mix it in instead of having it be this is the established thing. Because then if you try to change your pricing later, it's hard to get out of that. So mix it in more if you're going to do some of both or change your pricing later. So yeah, if you're going to keep it all at the same price because you can afford to do that, fine. But if you are going to later need to change your pricing, that would be my only caution. So yeah. All right, I need to get going. Anyone have any specific things they need help with? Please ask in chat. Let me make sure I didn't miss any questions that people had. Oh, let's see. What goes around said, I have a question about shipping and it always seems to cost me money, but I have been paying shipping. What settings should I have set so I'm not paying? So what settings do you have it set at right now? Are you just finding that you have too many people buying too much and then you're using all of your adjustments? You're so welcome, Melissa. Thanks for coming in. You are welcome. So I'm talking to you, Joan. Is there something that I can help you with your shipping? Are you just finding that you're using all of your adjustments and then having to pay? So do you have it set for flat rate, 1 to 5 pounds flat rate, 5 pounds and over flat rate, buyer pays max $9.21? Is that what you have it set at? So I would just say if that's how you have it set and you're using all of your adjustments, you probably just need to limit, you need to limit the amount people can buy by how much you offer. Oh, your sound went out. Right. Yeah, I was just trying to answer your question. So about shipping. So I was guessing that you're using all of your adjustments and then having to pay a little bit if someone buys more. So Dory says, I sold jewelry on Facebook Lives for their price, left company, and lots of inventory that you just want gone. Should I just set $2 start and go to town? Yeah. I mean, if you can afford to do it and you just want it gone, like I said, though, be careful if you're going to want to have higher prices on other things later. Don't set that as a precedent. Set those up in your buy it now for the $2 or put them in there for $4 and flash sale them at half off for $2. That would probably be a good strategy, but then it doesn't set the precedent that your auction items are going to be a $2 start. Does that make sense? So maybe use those in your buy it now, put them at $4 and then flash sale them half off for $2 and feature them as a flash sale regularly. And that way you can build up your sales, but then not set the precedent for a $2 start forever. Yeah. Hey, reptile guy. So use your buy it now, you guys. Buy it now is a huge, huge thing if you'll use it properly. Use it properly to feature items, do flash sales. Because the beauty of a flash sale is you can do percent off instead of price off, and you can do incremental pricing instead of flat, instead of a set, $1, $2, $3. Because auctions, you can only start at the next dollar. Whereas flash sales, you can put something in there, price it how you want it, and then, take a percentage off, but you're not having to go to the next dollar down. That makes sense. So it makes a big difference. That extra 30, 40, 50, 60 cents can make a big difference in the amount of profit you get on that item, but still giving people a really good screaming deal. So use your flash sales. They're a really good tool to use. Use your buy it now. Get things in there. I sell things out of my buy it now in every single show, every show. So use your buy it now to your advantage. Always have stuff in there. All right. So what goes around, message me if you want, if you need to, because I need to get going. All right. So let's go find someone to raid. Let me go see who we can raid into. And if you find these shows helpful, I'm on almost every Tuesday and Thursday. Oh, I'm on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The last couple of weeks I took Thursday off because it happened to be the holiday. But yeah, I'm on Tuesdays and Thursdays here walking and sharing. And I have a show scheduled tomorrow where we're going to talk about shipping. So if there's something, if you want to be in that show, we're going to go over custom shipping profiles in detail and how to set them up and how to use them, and go over some of the basics of shipping. And let me just see if there's someone in community. I don't know who that is. All right, so we'll just raid into one of our fabric friends. Let's see who is alive here that needs a little bit of love. I don't know Unicorner very well, but we're gonna go raid her. She's got 9 people in there. So everybody, she has a cute, super cute thumbnail. Let's go give her some love. Newer seller, Unicorner. Here we go. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Love you. Take care. See you soon.